Oh, nah, what's going on with it? My name is Timmy with the King Strategy, where we focus on the fundamentals of manhood. We focus on the do's and don'ts of manhood. And I'm here with my boy Melvin. What's going on with it? How you doing?
How you doing, Tim? I'm glad to be here, working with you, talking with you about the King Strategy, and I look forward to having a great conversation.
Let's do it
Yes,
then,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir.
So over the past year, 2019 closed, we are in the year 2020.
Yes.
Man, how was 2019 for you?
2019 was not easy, but it was a character developing year.
Right.
And I went through a lot of hardships, but I'm glad I went through it because it'll make me appreciate it until I know what's coming in 2020. Sometimes we can't appreciate the good things until we've gone through some hard things.
Right.
You know, so I'm excited for what 2020 has to come.
I feel you on that. Same thing for me. It did a lot of character building in 2019. I learned a lot about myself. I learned the do's and don'ts of myself when it came to setting boundaries. I didn't have no boundaries in my life, and I want guys to know that you can advocate for yourself by allowing yourself to have boundaries. Nothing wrong with saying no. Nothing wrong with saying yes and standing up for yourself. So I'm here to show guys that that boy said on Toy Story, you have a friend in me.
There you go. 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 And just to kind of piggyback off what you're saying as far as boundaries, not only boundaries for what you will or will not accept from other people,
right,
but boundaries from what you will not accept from yourself.
That's true. I will say that, you know, when I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. You know, right now we located in Sacramento, California.
Yes,
I've been here for a year, you know, and I learned a lot. It was a big transition from living in the South coming over here to the West.
Right.
And y'all motto out here is no worries.
Right. Or rather, when you have worries, how do you go about handling that in a healthy way?
Well, honestly, you have to lay some ground rules out for your life, because that's what I had to do. And when I tell you, coming to California, it was a total culture shock for me.
Right.
And I literally had to reevaluate my life because the way I lived in New Orleans, I couldn't live in California the same way. You know, I was back into a new relationship. I was back into a whole new frame of life that I never lived. You know, so long story short, I had to develop different fundamentals for myself. I mean, when I tell you I had to like almost strip my body down to the skeleton and start to rebrand myself and rebuild myself.
Really?
And I want a lot of guys to know that that's okay. Sometime in life you have to go backwards to go forward.
Right.
So for me, I literally had to go backwards. When I say go backwards, I mean go backwards almost to birth, because everything that I learned from childhood up until this point of last year was a lie. You know, it was a fallacy.
Right.
And I want guys to break the chain of hopelessness and helplessness.
Can you go into some of those things when you say that they were lies?
Basically, how to stand up for myself, how to love myself when it came to what type of woman I should be with, what type of job I should have, how much money I should have, how should I value myself, how should I conduct my household. Perfect example. I always thought a man, if you made money, you paid all the bills, you was the man of the house.
Right.
Period. In every type of way.
Right.
That's a fallacy. That's a lie.
Right.
You know, because just because you make the most amount of money, that doesn't mean you need to have power and dominion over your mate. You know, so everything that I learned was a lie. So I had to lose it all to understand that I was my worst enemy.
Right, right. That reminds me of I saw someone post on Instagram and said that there's a difference between being a boss and being a leader.
Right.
So a lot of us glorify this idea of being a boss instead of what we should be, which is being a leader. Because bosses, they just tell what to do instead of guide. They reprimand instead of encourage.
Right.
Right. So I'm not mad at the idea of one of the categories of masculinity being able to provide for your family, but that can't be all of it. Right. And so if you're basing all of your masculinity just on your ability to provide, then you're missing love, you're missing educate, you're missing protect, you're missing caring, you're missing to comfort when it's time.
Right.
So, you know, I just jot off 6, 7 categories. So you can't just have one and think that you're complete when you're missing 6 others.
You're preaching, because for me, I'm writing a book right now, and for me, I talk about for 4 years of my life, I was making $2,000 a week, and this is after taxes.
Wow, okay.
So I thought I was Lord. I thought I was boss. As long as I was paying bills, nobody could tell me nothing.
Right.
But I was lacking stability. Even though I was able to pay things, I was lacking stability in my life. You know, money don't fix everything.
Right.
And I'm telling you, I had to literally lose it all to understand that, like I said, I was my worst enemy.
Now, what things were unstable?
Knowing how to stand up for myself and saying no, because when you have money, you accessible to things.
Right.
Things that comes easy to you when you can buy things.
Right.
I mean, you can buy literally anything when you have money. So when you're used to hearing the word yes, just because you can say yes to your flesh, I mean, sometimes you're doing harm to yourself.
Right.
You know, so for me, that's what it was. You know, I was doing harm to myself by what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on TV, but it's like my flesh. I was pleasuring myself. Let's say that with money.
Right.
I use money as a byproduct to get whatever it was I wanted.
Right. And that sounds like too, like everything that's available to you isn't always good for you.
Exactly.
Right. That's true. That is absolutely true.